Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. It's a beautiful day to be inside. It's a beautiful morning to celebrate Shabbat and to get to daven and learn today with Katya. Looking forward to her becoming a bat mitzvah on this bima in just a little bit. We have a few books we'll be using this morning. One is in the seat back pocket in front of you. It is this blue Siddur. It's the order of our service. We started there on page 140, turning from the right-hand side. If you're joining us online and you found the link to that Siddur, I'll try to pull out pages for both our Siddur in here and the Siddur online. We do ask that while you are in here, that you do have a mask on for protection, and also that men wear a head covering and kippah. If you have any questions during the service, we have a wonderful usher, Dr. Buzz Shankerman, will be there to help you through the process if any questions come up. But we'll begin together with this morning setting on page 140 or online page 101 with the words of Untitled. Those who are able, please rise. We begin the morning service with a list of thank yous to God. Thank you for letting us wake up this morning and have our legs working. And so we're on page 146. If you're joining us in the online, see what's on page 103. We'll say amen to each of Katya's blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'masech b'bina v'chakrim ben yom u'ben layla.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzama.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzori.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'keach ivri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'ma'abir sharari.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sokeh kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zakah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzarki.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher henhi mitzvotei gaveh.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ai koach.
Amen. You may be seated. Each morning we try to learn something. Every day we try to learn something new. And we're proud of the fact that we always have things to learn about how smart you are. You always have things that you can learn. We say a blessing to God, thanking God for the fact that we still have things to learn. We're on page 152, online page 107. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah v'ha'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Torah v'finu v'fi amcha beit Yisrael v'nihyeh anachnu v'tze'etza'ei amcha beit Yisrael kulanu yodei shemecha v'lomdei Toratecha mishma Baruch atah Adonai hamalamed Torah le'amo Yisrael Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Amen. Amen. We in gratitude for learning something new every day. We invite somebody up here who's learned something new today to share some words with us.
So on Saturday mornings, Benny and me and Kevin and Buzz and Brother John Hops get together. We study with Rabbi Schechter and Leah Schechter. And as some of you have been here for the past 2 weeks know, we've been spending a fair amount of time over the past 2 weeks studying the Havdalah prayer. Havdalah is the little ceremony we do at the end of Shabbat, where we talk about the separation between sacred and Shabbat and everyday existence that we go through. And our to this morning's discussion of the Havdalah text, we're particularly focused on the separation between the sacred and the profane, with a focus on sacred and profane behavior. First question we asked was, well, what does sacred behavior look like? And Rabbi Schechter, his example for us that we spent some time discussing comes right from the attributes of God that we read in Exodus. Adonai, Adonai, Elohim, V'chanun, the Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in kindness and faithfulness, extending kindness, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin. And those are the kind of things that we form the basis of our discussion of what is holy behavior. We have some more discussion on that a little bit later on. And then the topic turned to, so what if you have someone that engages in certain behaviors that look holy, but maybe engages in other behaviors that are not? We had a nice discussion about that notion. So if someone sort of prays fervently in synagogue, but uses foul language, is that sacred, and what is sacred about that? A long discussion of sort of a scoundrel with the permission of the Torah. So we struggled with that. We struggled with these definitions. We talked about, in the end, sort of what exactly is behavior that sanctifies God's name, Kiddush Hashem, and what the behavior might be that would not sanctify or desecrate God's name, Hilul Hashem. And that struggle is something I think all of us we acknowledge we kind of engage in. And then the theme of perhaps the struggle, we'll perhaps hear more about that later on this morning around the budget. So on that note, Shabbat Shalom.
Pastor Crawford, Gary, thank you so much for teaching us this morning. And maybe a challenge to us to figure out a way to separate out the holy from the profane, from being able to tell the difference between what's holy in this world and what's a little less so. Page 154, if you're joining us online, page 111 is gratitude for learning something new. Join us for Kaddish Torah. Yitkadash Shemei Rabba, De'alma Divrah Turtei, De'alma Turtei. B'Ha'aychom, B'Yomeichom, B'Chai, B'Chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'Agala, B'Zman Karim, B'Imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba, Mevorach, Le'olam, Omer, Omaya. Yitbarach, V'Yishabach, V'Yitpa'ar, V'Yitramam, V'Yitnaseh. Yithadar, Yithaleh, Yithalal, Shemei, Kedusha, B'Richu. Le'ela, Minkol, Birchata, V'Shirata. Tushbechata, V'Nechamata. Le'amiram, Ve'alma, V'Imru, Amen. Al Yisrael, Ve'al Rabbanan, Ve'al Tamidehon. Ve'al Kol Tamidei, Tamidehon. Ve'al Kol Man, Ve'al Skin, Ve'oraita. V'Yatra Hadein, V'Diva, Chol Atar, Yehei, V'Hon, V'Chon, Shlamar, Rabba. Tina, V'Chista, V'Rachamim. Chaim Arifim Zonever V'Kei. Ufortana Nikoram Mohon Yishmaya Lahara Ingru Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya. Chaim Tovim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ingru Amen. Osei Shalom Mihamad. Urachamav Yasei Shalom. Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ingru Amen. Our service this morning is in 5 parts. We have finished part 1. So those who are able, please rise as we begin part 2. We're on page 180 in our Siddur, or if you're joining us online, page 122. Amen. You may be seated. If the first part of our service is waking up our bodies, reminding us that our different parts of our bodies work, the second part of our service is waking up our voices, making sure that our voices are present and here with us right now. On page 194, or if you're joining us online, page 141, it is the last psalm in the book of Psalms, which says we should find a way to praise God no matter how we do it. Some people can say the words in Hebrew, some people can sing, some people can ululate to the whatever you can do. Some people play the tambourine and some people dance, whatever you can do to praise God. Find a way every day to bring praise to God. We're on page 194. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We'll turn forward now to page 212. Right in the middle of the page of 212, this is the Song of the Sea as we crossed the Red Sea that was 3,300 years ago. We found our voice. We finally, after years and centuries of slavery, we were able to find our voice and sing something new. And we sang these words, O Zi, the Zimrat Yah, praise to God and praise to singing. You can join us online on page 143. O Zi, the Zimrat Yah, Vayeli Yeshua. Turn to page 218, or for our mind, page 147, in God's closeness to us and within us. Shocking God. If you're able, please rise. We invite to Lima, Linda Clement, Linda Dalton Mendes. Dad Hatem Mendes and Hatsi Kadash at 2:20. Amen. If you are close to being seated on page 226. Page 228, or for online, page 151, El Adon.
Page 238. Oh
With like a tali, you find the four corners and wrap them together on one finger in preparation for Shabbat, which Tati will plead in just a second. We'll continue just a moment on page 252, just below the top of the page. If you're joining us in the online viewer, on page 158, towards the middle. Those who are able, please rise in preparation for the Alvin. We finish with your personal prayer. If you're still doubting, if you're still praying, please continue. Our blue seagull on page 306, or if you're joining us in the online seagull, page 167.
Darby to Lady to Lashmi Krishna. Let Ravi Kodur Fatah Shirata, Fatah Nehanata, Amravi Amavi Imeru. Think about it, Honda, from the Holy Israel, the down of the Hundabishan Imeru. Islam Arala Minchanayan, Pahalina Lea, the Holy Israel, the Imeru. Oh, say Shalom, Yirama, Uya, say Shalom. Amen, the Holy Israel, the Imeru. Amen.
Our chorus service begins on page 312.
Thank you, Lord, Elohim Adonai. Thank you, Master. Malchut Malchut Kol Olamim. Komentartecha bechol dor vador. Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Baruch et Namu v'Shalom. Amin. Teira v'Koreka et-Zion. Tirei Kod Yerushalayim. Tirei Kod Yerushalayim.
We invite Michael and Jennifer to come join us on the Lima to share some words with their daughter Patrick, who stands out over here.
Katya, what a day. For those of you who don't know, today is not only Katya's bat mitzvah, it's also her birthday, which makes it extra special. Just like you. You came into this world a blessing to us all, a tiny, twinkly-eyed tot who radiated love and happiness, and even a little mischief. I think this is still an apt description of you today. You have the gift of optimism, a certain exuberance, sometimes quiet, sometimes loud, and irrepressibility. I see it in your actions, hear it in your laughter, and I feel it every day. You are kind and wise, fun and funny, and I am so grateful to get to be your mom. You have the biggest heart. When I patted you on the back as a baby to comfort you, you patted me right back. You gave as many kisses, hugs, and snuggles as you could, and luckily for us, you still do. You are the first to want to help, whether people or animals. You are the first to speak out and stand up against injustice and cruelty. You do the right thing, even when it's hard. You go out of your way to help people feel better. On the first day of a new school, when you knew nearly no one, you invited an 8th grader sitting alone to join your group at lunch. Although she was shy and didn't speak much, she sat with you for that first week until she made her own connections, and you helped her feel comfortable and accepted. You, as we all do, have faced challenges, and with strength, resilience, and your ability to find the silver linings, you come out stronger. Your Torah portion tells of transformation and growth after struggle. It's certainly been true for you. One thing that hasn't changed is the way you sing through your day. You hummed before you could talk and have been singing ever since. We had many full conversations in song when you were little. And sometimes, when you were too upset to talk, you could sing about it. One of her Hebrew names, Ramit, means joyful song. She is singing, and it couldn't be more true to you. You were named in Hebrew into English for relatives, and I'm sure they would be proud of you. When Dad graduated from law school, a speaker gave a grammar lesson, and you know how much I love grammar. He spoke of the difference between doing well and doing good. You have already learned this lesson. Of course, I'm proud of you for doing well, which you do in lots of areas of your life. However, I am most proud of and truly cherish the person you are and the way you do so much good in both actions and in character. I hope you will remember to care for yourself as much as you care for others. Your loving heart, your sparkling soul, and ability to navigate life give me confidence that your path ahead is bright. I hope your intrinsic Katya-ness and the love we all have for you will keep you both grounded and uplifted as you sing your way along.
From the moment you were born, you struck me as a miracle. Perhaps that happens to all fathers, but I know that being with you as you grow up is a wonder that not all fathers get to experience. You continue to amaze me. In the beginning with the questions you asked, then with the insights you shared, and most recently with your passion and ability to fight for what you believe is right, and share that with others in such a compassionate and meaningful way. You are wise. This seems a strange thing to say for a 13-year-old, but I believe it. Your views of life astound me. Throughout your life, you've naturally used the Socratic method, asking questions to open up truths. Your insight and understanding of the world is hard to explain unless you get to know it. You are a leader and a doer. A good example is your Bat Mitzvah project. You saw something that needed to be fixed and you persevered and got many people involved. I'm so glad that you wanted me to spend time with you in the garden, from brainstorming to reviewing your flyers and your communications, to actually working with you and your friends and volunteers. The project has also showcased how you are such a giving, loving individual. At times in the garden, I've been willing to settle for less than ideal outcomes just to find a quick fix. You have shown yourself capable of reminding me and other adults of the reasons we work on the community garden, and have done this in a way to win others over to your way of thinking without alienating people who have come out to help. A specific example of this is a concern of homeless taking vegetables from the garden beds. At times where some of us adults got caught up in secondary issues, you were able to bring us back to the purpose of your Bonnets of be done. And lucky for me, it's not just the last year. I've been able to be with you the last 13 years. I love spending time with you. I love reading with you, laughing with you, and learning. I feel like I should provide some words of wisdom. So it's okay to take care of yourself and put yourself first from time to time. Assert yourself and your needs. Second, keep good friends and families around you. I know you have done that, and I hope you continue to do that. And third, stay open to funds. You're 13 now and open the door to adulthood. Remember, there's still a path you must take as you become an adult. Know that Mom, Sophia, and I are always here. I know you are independent and you're going to learn on your own. And I'm sure you will learn things I never even dreamed of. But know that as you walk down the road, you can simply reach out and will always be there. Sum it up. You are strong. I love you.
Thank you. Stay up here, stay up here. Stay up here. Those who are able to please rise. Jennifer and Michael are going to open up the ark for us. And as they open up the ark, we're prepared to take up the sacred Torah. We invite up also Sophia to join us up here, as well as Elaine and Michael Gallo and Lynn and Larry Joseph.
שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העולם ועל גמילות חסדים. על התורה ועל העולם ועל גמילות חסדים. You may be seated.
You may be seated. Each week we read the next section of our Torah, and this week we're in the section that we call Vayishlach, when it's a very mystical parsha, a very deep parsha. We're going to read the end of this. If you want to put your blue book away and take out the big red one in front of you, that's kind of Chumash. Maybe it's another color, but it's on page. I think on page 214 in there. Page 214. If you're joining us in a different Chumash or Bible or Tanakh of some sort, we're in Genesis chapter 35, verse 16. I'll have to find the right spot in the Torah. Our patriarchs and our matriarchs are all laid to rest in one place, in a Hebron. It's called the Machpelah. If you ever get a chance to go to Israel, and you're on a special tour that can take you to Hebron, which is a very unique city in Israel, a very unique city in the Middle East, a very unique city in the world. You get to see this place where our foremother, Sarah, was first buried, and then her husband, Abraham, after her, and then Rebekah and Isaac, and then Leah and Jacob. And strangely missing from this lineup of our foremothers and forefathers is Rachel. Now, if you go to Machpelah and you're given one of these guided tours, it's one of the most remarkable places. I say that it's very unique, which I know a little bit too much. There's a word for that, it's not oxymoron, it's built on each other a little bit too much. But it is because in all of the places in the Middle East where it feels torn, where it feels like there's anger or hostility between our Muslim neighbors and the Jewish neighbors, and perhaps the Christians as well. Hebron and this Machpelah, this big burial place, stands out because they've come up with a schedule. Because this is a place of holiness for the Christians and the Jews and the Muslims. They have a calendar, and the council sits down and figures out what hours of each day and what days of each week this is a place of Jewish holiness, when it's a place of Muslim holiness, and when it's a place of Christian holiness. But there's never, thank God right now, there's never hostility in that area. They've worked out some sort of schedule, which is really incredible and quite unique for anywhere in the world to figure it out. If you go to a place like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, they haven't quite figured out there, and the different denominations of Christianity are very angry at each other still 2,000 years later over who controls which side, so much so that if you go to this place of Christian sanctity, there was a ladder that was put up there a long time ago, but it was one sect's ladder and another sect's section. The question of who can touch the ladder has not been answered. So even though years and decades have gone by, the ladder remains in that church. And yet, if you go to the Machpelah, to this holy burial place in Hebron, They had come up with a schedule, couldn't be buried there. And this week we read about the death of Rachel. And Rachel, the favorite wife, if such a thing exists, of Jacob, should be given a place of holiness for her burial. Should be given a place next to her, the rest of her family, in Machpelah. And yet, she's not. She dies, unfortunately, in childbirth. All she wanted was to have children. She saw her sister be able to have babies every year. She saw her housemaid be able to have babies every year. She saw her sister's housemaid have babies over and over. All she wanted was children. She had her first child, and her first child, she thought that wasn't enough. So she named him Joseph, because Joseph means, give me more. I want more. This isn't enough. Joseph became the favorite, but then we have this week the birth of Benjamin. And she is so broken by Benjamin inside her emotions as well as physically, that she names this child Ben-Oni. Not a name that anybody is named anymore. Ben-Oni means the child of my misery, the child of my sorrow. Now, do you know what your name means? Have you ever looked up what your name means? Some people do. My name is Ari, which means lion. Although any Hebrew speakers would say, no, Aryeh is lion, Ari is not lion. But either way, my name is lion. And my brother's name is Shmuel. Samuel means God heard. And my sister's name is Zahava. We won't get into that, but it's a disease. Anyway. But we think about what our name means. And I made the unfortunate comment to my mother-in-law, Barbara, that Barbara comes from the word barbaric. It means unable to be discerned. When you heard people coming over the hill with their pitchforks, with their spears, what's the sound they heard? It was just a bar. It's just a mishmash of words. Right? We call others barbarians. And somehow that turned into the beautiful name of Barbara. What does your name mean? What do you carry with you? And here's Benjamin, who's born in a point of misery for his mother. She is wandering. She has left her home. She's in so much pain. She wants only to be pregnant, but she is miserable being pregnant. Being pregnant is, I've heard, I don't know what they're saying, being pregnant is not easy. And she is old. She's not quite like Sarah, but she's old. Her sisters had, I think at this point, 6 children before she's had her second one. Old in those days, the calculation comes out to somewhere around 31 years old, which isn't old. But in those days, when you're having babies very young, she's old. Her body is not ready for this. And this baby breaks her. She says, just call this child the child of my misery, the child of my sorrow, the child of my brokenness. And then she dies. And it's heartbreaking to think of what she went through to have a child, to prove that she was worthy. And her husband says, I can't have this child growing up, this beautiful baby growing up, thinking that he's the one who ruined his mother. And so let's change his name from Ben-Oni, the child of my sorrow, to Benjamin, the child of my right-hand side, the child who sits in the seat of honor, the child who will one day have a great seat of strength. And sure enough, one day, if you follow along in the books of the Torah and the rest of the Bible, Benjamin becomes the ancestor to King David and to King Solomon. Benjamin becomes the ancestor to who one day be the Messiah will come through that line. And to think that this is where he comes from this place of brokenness. The place of Rachel's tomb is so holy. It is so holy that if you take a red string and you wrap it around her tomb, still 3,700 years later, if you take a string and wrap it around there and you say a blessing and unwind it, you can sell that string for a lot of money to people around the world who just want a red string around their wrist. That's if you ever remember those Kabbalah bracelets that people sold for a while. The red string. It wasn't just from Michael's, although maybe it was. But they would take it to the tomb of Rachel, as she was the one who suffered so much, and say, may her suffering alleviate yours. And they would take this string and they would sell it to them. If you go to the hotel in Jerusalem, if you go to the Western Wall, they'll still sell you string for a lot of money. This red string that was wrapped around her grave. That place is so holy that people pilgrimage to it. There's stories in our Bible of 3,000 years ago, people making pilgrimage to that spot, to pray at this grave, to find solace at this grave. The spot is so holy that if you go to Israel and you ask people, where is the tomb of Rachel? They'll point you in two different directions because there are two places that they claim Rachel to have been buried. That's how holy the spot is. Is they have to make another one of it because it was just such a place that people wanted to go. We're going to read 7 different parts from the Torah this morning, learning about Rachel, and learning about Benjamin, and learning about what it means to be a family, taking time to get through the most difficult moment in our history for them at that time. If you want to follow along, we'll start on page 314. And for each of these, we have somebody reading the Torah. We have a group of people coming up to say the blessings, the brachot over the Torah. So I'd like to invite up now Matthew, Max, and Zachary Gallo to say the blessings of the Torah as I introduce them through the words of our prayers. Ve'ya'azor, and Yoshilaho HaKosim Vodamar, Amen. Hafo, Rabu, Godel, Elohenu, V'kol Torah. Ya'amdu Avram ben Henach Lecha Miriam, Yosef Ayal ben Avram ben Michael Yoden ben Avram Aliyah Rishona, Baruch Shantan Torah, and also Shato, Batem Halikim Ba'Hem Bokem Ayo.
Baruch et Adonai HaTorah. Baruch Adonai Elam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Asher b'cha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayisu mi Beitel, vayihod kirat haaretz lavo Ephrata, vateled Rachel, vatikash belidata, vayi bahashkota belidata, vatomer la yaledet al tiri. Ki gamzela bein, vayhi b'tzeit nafsha ki meita, vatikra shemo ben Oni, vaviv karalo Binyamin, vatamahat Rachel, vatikaver b'derech Ephrata, Hi Beit Lachem, Vayatev Yaakov, Matzeva Kegurata, Hi Matzeva Kivrat Rachel Ad Hayom, Vayisa Yisrael, Vayed Alo, Mehal Ahal Migdol Eder, Vayehi Vishkahon Yisrael, Va'eretz Ahi, Vayelech Reuven, Vayishkav Epilha Pilegesh Aviv, Vayishma Yisrael, Vayu b'nei Yaakov shnei masar, b'nei Leah, Zachor Yaakov Reuven, v'Shimon v'Levi v'Yehuda, v'Yisachar u'Zvulun, b'nei Rachel, Yosef u'Binyamin, u'b'nei Bilha Shivchat Rachel, Dan v'Naftali, u'b'nei Zilpah Shivchat Leah Gad Asher, Ele b'nei Yaakov, Asher yilad lo, B'Fadan Aram.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'kafenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten haTorah.
I should come over and stand on this side to me. We call to the second Aliyah, Helene and Michael Gallo, as well to read the Torah. We call up Jen Steinberg. Yamdu, Miriam Bat Moshe Malka, Hech Ben Israel Hadassah, Yasheni, Shmiyah.
Lord, who had Adonai and Torah. Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam V'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'olim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayavo Yaakov el Yitzchak aviv, Mamre Kiryat ha'arba, Chi Hebron, Asher Gershom Abraham v'Yitzchak. Vayiyu Yemei Yitzchak, Me'at Shana u'shmonim Shana. Vayigava Yitzchak vayamav vayaseh elamav. Zaken u'seva yamim, vayikberu oso, Esav Yaakov banav.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'kafenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten haTorah.
For the third Aliyah, we call Jennifer, Michael, and Sophia Elizabeth. And the online share will be for us. Ya'amdu, Surah Pesha, Henech Nechana, Chana Mendel, Chaya Riva, Samalka, Chana Mendel, Surah, Laliyah Shishit.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'olim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten haTorah.
Amen. Ve'ele toldot Esav hu Edom. Esav lakach et nasav mibnot Kenaan et Ada bat Elon hachiti v'et achalivama bat Anab bat Sivon hachivi. V'ed basmat bat Ishmael achot neviot v'teled Ada le'esav et Eliphaz uvasmat yalda et Reuel ve'ahalivama yalda et Yeush v'ed Yalam v'ed Korach Ela b'nei Esav Asher yuldu lo be'eretz Canaan Vayikach Esav et Nasav v'et Banav V'et benotav V'et kol nafshot beito, v'et miknehu, v'et kol behemto, v'et kol kinyano, asher rachash be'eretz Canaan, v'yelech el eretz mipnei Yaakov achiv, ki haya rechusham rav mishevet yachdav, v'lo yachlav eretz megurehem, la'aseit otam mipnei miknehem, vayeshev Esav behar seir, Esav hu Edom.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, b'chayei olam nata b'tzedkenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. The fourth aliyah is at the top of page 217. Cheryl will continue reading. We call Lynn Josie and Myra Rocker and Elisa Gala for the blessing of the Torah. Ya'am ta'amdu, hayavi v'la'am svi v'rachel, v'yarhinda bat shol Yaakov v'freda, Yisrael v'rachel bat Moshe v'li v'hosna, v'la'aliyah revi'it.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Asher ba'alanu mikol ha'amim, v'natanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'ele toldot Esav avi Edom behar seir. Ele shemot b'nei Esav Eliphaz ben Ada eshet Esav Reuel ben Basmat eshet Esav. Vayu b'nei Eliphaz, Teman Omar, Tefo, V'gatam Uknav, V'timna, Hayta Filegesh, LeEliphaz, Ben Esav, V'ateled LeEliphaz et Amalek, Ele b'nei Ada eshet Esav, ve'ele b'nei Reuel, Nachat v'zerach Shama u'mizah, Ele hayu b'nei Basmat eshet Esav, ve'ele hayu b'nei Achila v'ama, Vat Ana, Vat Zivon eshet Esav, Vat Elet le'Esav, et Yeush v'et Yalam, v'et Korach, Ele alufei b'nei Esav, b'nei Eliphaz, b'chor Esav, aluf Teman, Aluf Omar, Aluf Sefo, Aluf Kenaz, Aluf Korach, Aluf Katam, Aluf Amalek, Ele Alufe, Eliphaz, Be'eret Adom, Ele Bnei Ada, Le'ele, Bnei Reuel, Ben Esav, Aluf Nachat, Aluf Zerach, Aluf Shama, Aluf Mizah, Hele Alufe, Reuel, Be'eret Adom, Ele, Bnei Basmat, Eshet Esav, Ve'ele, Bnei Achlivama, Eshet Esav, Aluf Yeush, Aluf Ya'alam, Aluf Korach, Hele Alufe, Achalivama, Bat Ana, Eshet Esav, Ele Bnei Esav, Le'ele Alufehem, Hu Edom.
For the fifth Aliyah, we call up Joel Schrader, one of our past presidents. Ya'amod Yosef ben Chaim Saba Aliyah HaMishim. Baruch Adonai HaBorah, Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bokachanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan et Torto, Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Amen. Eleven Seir Hachori Yoshve Haaretz Lotan V'Shoval V'Tzivon V'Ana V'Dishon V'Eitzer V'Dishan Ele Alufei Hachori B'nei Seir B'Eretz Edom Vayu v'nei lotan chori v'hemam v'achot lotan timna v'ela v'nei shoval alvan umanachad v'eval shefal v'onan v'ela v'nei tzivon v'aya v'ana kulana Asher matzad hayemim bamidbar biroto erachamorim l'tzivon avi v'ele v'nei ana dishan v'al holivama batana v'ele v'nei dishan chemdan v'eshbahan v'itran ucharan Levene, Eitzer, Bilhan, Vizavan, Vakan. Levene, Dishan, Utzvara, Ele Alufe, Havori, Aluf Lotan, Aluf Shaval, Aluf Tzivon, Aluf Ana. Aluf Dishan, Aluf Eitzer, Aluf Dishan, Ele Aluf Hachori, Lalufehem Be'eretz Seir.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan לנו Torah emet, v'chayei olam v'tavtzotenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
This fifth aliyah is one of a blessing of healing, an aliyah of healing. And so when we say a blessing of healing, we'll start with the names of those who are on my list of people I'm thinking of today. If anybody here has names to add to the list, people they want to mention who need healing, healing of body, healing of soul, healing of mind. Laura, in the room, anybody can add a name in English or in Hebrew. Okay, everyone on Zoom as well. You press the button to raise your hand, we'll love to see you. We can say blessings for you as well. Mishaberach, Avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Yivarech, V'yarchei etach Olim, Menucha bat Necha, Shlomo ben Rivka, Rivka bat Sarah, and Dan ben Chava, Chana bat Chava, Yosef ben Rachel, Moshe ben Fega, Lezer ben Chava, Moshe ben Yehudi, Yaakov ben Moshe, Hali bat Sarah, Zipporah bat Leah, Sarah, Fega bat Kedusha, Yehudi bat Sarah, Levi Aryeh ben Chana, Sarah bat Esther, Rivka ben bat Sarah, Miriam bat Dorit, Yosef ben Devorah, Baruch ben David, Rav Chaim Yaakov ben Pesha, Yehudit bat Sarah, Rachel Miriam bat Esther, Gabriel bat Ayala, Ayala bat Simon, Chavafredo bat Noga, Sarah bat Esther, Rivka bat Henya, Racha bat Miriam, Abraham ben Leah, Sheno bat Basha, Yosef ben Esav, Yonatan, Reuven ben Rivka, Harav Tzivia, Chana bat Sarah, Aharon ben David, Abraham ben Chava, Chana Tzivi bat Jenny, Aviva bat Zosmin, Avram Leib ben Yosefa, Zisel Chana bat Liva, Reuven Baruch ben Taili Alana, Pruma Dina bat Leah, Avishag Leah bat Aviva, Penina Rachel bat Sarah Chana, Eleanor bat Esther, Golden Vita bat Crandall, Reuven, Michael ben Shirley, Roy ben Buren, Al Sanders, and Shirley Rutkovitz, Cassandra Hosher, Bobby Sachs, Jessica Jacoby, Debbie Jacoby, John Ogle, Lee Foreman, Shirley Gangstwig, Sabrina Cohen.
Sarah.
Ani ve başkaları da başlanıyor. Ancak başkaları bu arada maliyeti de falan. Lidya, Sarah, Raja Batu, one thing that can
Thank you. Ben. Michael. Cheryl.
Chana Michal bat Chaviva, Chaya Malka bat Ruchel, Katya Basha bat Renata, Angela Kay, Samantha Carter, Barbara Carter, Elliot and Doreen Bath, and Robin Lund. Larry Lewinson.
Thank you. Steve.
Yochel Mishka, Dora Yochel Lala, Miguel Ben Joseph, Suzanne Morton, and Steve Plucker. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty.
Bobby Berg, Judy Maller.
Akadosh Baruch Hu V'Rachim Aleichem Hachzitam V'Rachotam V'Yishlach Lehem Meher Refuah Hashem Neshemayim B'chut HaNefesh B'chut HaGuf B'Tov Shar HaCholim V'Chazek Et Yedei Hoskim Tzorkeihem Joaquin Lizzo for Prologo, Hashtag Agala Guzman Karim Minomar. May a full and speedy recovery to all of those in our family and friends who just need a little extra help. We pray for strength, for wisdom to their caregivers, whether they're friends and family or doctors and nurses, anybody taking care of them. Please give them the attention they need. We'll go back to our Torah reading now for the sixth Aliyah. We call it Judy Dindi for the sixth Aliyah, and Betty is going to be reading Torah for us. For those of you who are following along in our Bible and our Chumash, we're at chapter 36, verse 31, which for us is on top of page 219. Among us, Shabbat Yabrat, Eliezer, Betsy Torah, Aliyah, she. Amen.
Amen. Ve'elech malachim asher malchu be'eretz Edom livnei malach melech livnei Yisrael vayimlo be'edom Bela ben Ba'ur v'sham irodim hala vayamot bala vayimlo tachtav Yovav ben Zerah mibotzra, vayamot Yovav vayimloch tachtav, usham me'eretz hatemani, vayamot usham vayimloch tachtav, Hadad ben Badad, hamakeh et Midian biste. Moab v'shemiro avit, vayamot Hadad, vayimloch tachtav, Sama mimasreka, vayamot Sama, vayimloch tachtav, Shaul merchavot hanahar, vayamot Shaul, vayimloch tachtav, Hanan ben Achor, vayamot, Hanan ben Achor, vayimloch tachtav Hadad, v'shem iro ha'u, v'shem ishto mehetavel bat matred, bat mezahav.
We invited Judy up here for the sixth Aliyah because she was she's our vice president of social action. She was revived, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. I wasn't here before. She was vice president of social action. She's done amazing things with social action. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had Mitzvah Day that Katya was very involved with, and also the fact that we had so many people here to donate blood, to donate jackets, to donate games and toys, to donate helping blankets. It goes on and on. You've done amazing work, and we're glad that we can be a little part of making this world and this community a better and a stronger and a safer place. So thank you very much for helping lead the way in that. For the seventh Aliyah, it's been our tradition here for around 60 years to call up all of the kids in the room. So all of the, however you identify yourself, all the kids in the room, we're gonna hold a chuppah over you. So Matthew Golub and Matthew Lisabay, Cynthia Kerman, and then Elise Barlowstone Achlagi. To up here and hold up the chuppah over the heads of all of the kids. Make sure that they have this place of sanctity and holiness. And we invite Katya to come here and say and read the Torah for us as the kids to say the blessing. All right, all the kids, go over here. Here. All right, on this side. Push it in. Find the spot. Center. All right. We need something like a palace house here. You can sit right here. You'll have a palace. Yeah. Okay, ready? Together. Here. 1, 2,
Amen. Le'ele shemot alufei esa lemishpechotam limkomotam mishpatam aluf timna aluf baba aluf yites aluf bahalibama aluf bela aluf yinon aluf kenas aluf teman aluf miftar aluf magdiel aluf Ephraim elef aluf etum Patam be'eret hutetam uesav avietum.
I'll be seated except for 2 people have enough. Yitbarach b'Shabbat, Yitbar b'Tumam b'Tnaseh, b'Tadar b'Taleh b'Talal, Shemid Kudusha, Le'ela Mikol Birchata v'Shirata, Tushbechata v'Nehemata, Da'amirat v'Yamam v'Yimeru. The Maftir Aliyah is the concluding Aliyah, the last Aliyah from the Torah this morning. It can be found in your book, in your red Chumash on page 220, at the top of the page, with verse 40. The Halak Arba Mitzvah by her Hebrew name, the daughter of her parents' Hebrew name. This is when officially she becomes an adult in our community. We'll talk about that. Ta'amod, habakura, habat mitzvah, charanit, bat, hanan, mendel, sura pesha, L'Aliyah Maftira Hazakah. Amen. If you're able, please rise. We invite you to lift the Torah. Mark Goldstein address the Torah Master God. Ya'amdu, Hamadu, Hamulev, Sefer Torah. You may be seated. Each week, in addition to reading Torah, we read a section from the prophets. And this week we read from the book of Obadiah, the shortest book in our whole Tanakh, in our whole Bible. In our Chumash here, it's on page 222, page 222. If you're following along in some other book, we're in Obadiah, the beginning of it. This is, as far as I can tell, and I'm happy to hear alternate theories, he is the angriest prophet. We have Ezekiel, who's the most prettiest prophet, maybe. We have Jeremiah, who's really a downer. We have Isaiah, who is filled with exciting things going on, and ego and glorious moments. We have some who are very humble. Obadiah, we know very little about. We don't know exactly when he lived. We don't know exactly where he lived. We don't know much about his life because there's so little here. Just 21 sentences in this whole book. But he is angry. And he sees, probably, we can guess from context, destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. And as he's watching this, he sees that, yes, it's the foreigners, it's the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar who's coming in to destroy our one holy site back then. Except that the people helping the Babylonians, the people on the ground making this happen, are the Edomites. Edom is another name for Esau. We're in the reading today, this fight between Jacob and Esau. And it's a reminder that fight continues centuries and 1,000 years later. Edom, the people of Esau, are out there trying to destroy the people of Jacob. And so here he is angry and filled with And we found the only way to read this Haftarah, to find the nicest person we know to chant it for us. And so we turn it over now to Katya to chant the blessings before the Haftarah, then this special and unique Haftarah, and the blessings afterwards. So, hand over to you.
Asher Bahar B'V'im Tovim Yotzav D'Vreihem HaNe'emarim Be'emet Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'ocher B'Torah U'Moshe Avdo U'Yisrael Amo U'V'yeh HaEmet V'Tzedek Hasan Ovadia, Hu Amar, Adonai Elohim, Le'edom, Shemuah Shamanu, Me'et Adonai, V'tzir V'Goyim Shuvah, Kumu V'nakuma Aleha, V'milchama, Hine Katom, Netatika V'Goyim, Bazuata Zedon Lehan Shecha Jochni Lehan Maranchito Omer Belero Miori Deni Aretz Im Tavi Rakan Hesher Ve'im Ben Kokabim Shim Kinecha Misham Redecha Ne'um Adonai Im Gavim Be'ulachan Shod Eich Nidmeta Halo Yignevu Dayan Im Botrim Ba'alah Halo Yashiro Lomot Eich Nefesu Esal Nibu Matana Atakul Shekuha Kol Shevertecha Kishiucha Yahulecha Anshe Shalomecha Lachmecha Yasinu Mazor Tachtecha In Tabernacle Halo Bayom Hahu Ne'um Adonai Ba'avatzi Amin Me'edom U'tfuna Mechar Esar V'chatu Divorecha Tema Leman Yikaret Ish Mechar Esar Mikatel Mechama Zafika Yaakov Zachazaka V'shah V'nikrata Le'olam Bayom Adakami Neget Bayom Shebo Tarim Hello V'nachrim Ba'ushara Ve'ayushalayim Yadu Goro Ramata Ve'aham Nehem Ve'alter Bayom Achicha Bayom Nachro Ve'al Tismach Linevuda Bayom Avdam Ve'al Tagadel Picha Bayom Tzara Al Tavod V'sha'arami Bayom Nidam Al Tere Gamata Barato Bayom Edo Ve'al Tishlachna Ve'chelo Bayom Edo Ve'al Ta'amod Al Peret Ve'chachrit Et Peletav Ve'al Tegadel Serita Bayom Tzara Ki Karov Yom Adonai Amo Hadonim Ke'asher Asita Ya'aselam Gemelecha Yeshua Barashecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur ha'olamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber u'mekayem shechol davarav emet v'tzedek ne'eman atachu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emarim devarecha v'davar echad midvarecha Rachem, Osiyam Kivet Hayenu, Alubat Nefesh Toshia, Bimhera Be'ameinu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Sameach Tzion, B'Benea. Samheinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Be'eliyahu Hanavi Avdecha, B'malchut Beit David Meshipchecha, Bimhera Yavo, Ve'agel Libeinu, Al Kiso Lo Yoshev Zar, Ve'lo Yifnei Lirot, Acherim Et Kevodo, Ki B'Shem Kodechecha, Nishbat Halo, Shelo Yifnei Lirot, Le'olam La'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen David. Al HaTorah, Ve'al HaAvodah, Ve'al HaMi'im, Ve'al Yom HaShabbat Hazeh. Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Mikdusha V'Livnecha, V'Ha'od U'Tifaret. Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'anachnu matim Lam, U'Malchut Beit David Otach. Yibarach Shemcha B'Bikol Chai, Tamid Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekates HaShabbat.
Yes, thank you very much, Katya. Come back and sing Haftorah anytime. That was so beautifully done. That was really wonderful. So thank you. And thank you again to our Torah readers, to Tzvi Kalinsky and Jen Seiler Grimm, online Cheryl Wolf, and Betty Zonshine. Thank you very much for reading Torah for us. All of you, please continue reading here. It is such a delight to hear you. If anybody else was inspired and goes, I can give that a try. Because it was one of them, it was their first time reading Torah. I won't tell you who, but that person did an amazing job. And so I hope that you feel inspired, that if you ever want to take that leap and learn to read Torah a little bit, we'll take you through it step by step. You don't feel like you're diving in unassisted. We'll turn now to Elizabeth Jennifer Taylor to come and lead us in an English reading here. You can put your red book away. We're on blue CD, you are on page 772.
Rabbi Moshe Leib was teaching his disciples. Every human quality and power was created for a purpose. Even base and corrupt qualities can be enlisted to serve God. A bystander challenged him, "But Rabbi, how can the skeptical denial of God be used to serve the Holy One?" Rabbi Moshe Leib replied, "If someone comes to you for help, you should not turn that person away with pious words, such as 'have faith' or 'God will help you.' No, you should act as if there was no God. Act as if there were the only one source to help in the world for this human being, you."
Powerful reading, thank you, Jennifer. Goes back to what we were talking about last night of what does prayer mean? What do you expect when you pray? What is the outcome of your prayer? So thank you for reading that for us. We invite back up here Kathy now to lead us in Ashrei. On page, turn back on blue seal to page 336, if you're online on page 181.
Ashrei betecha, oy halu chasela.
Ashrei ha'am shekachalo, ashrei ha'am sharai Elohav.
V'nei David, Baruch Elohai HaMelech, Be'orcha Shemcha v'lam va'ed.
V'kol yom v'chakecha, v'la shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai v'cholam me'od, v'vigdorato ein heker.
Dor v'dorei shabbat ma'asecha, u'v'ratecha yagidu.
V'dor kavod hodecha, v'dibri niflotecha asicha.
Ve'etuzorotecha yomeru, u'atcha asaprena.
Zecherotecha yabiru, v'tinchatecha yironeinu.
Ayumrahu maranai, erchapai u'rochased.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'racham ha'bakol ma'asa.
If you're able, please rise as we prepare to put the Sefer Torah away. We invite the listening families back up here to take the Torah again and to walk around the room hugging the Torah. So everybody has a chance to take their seat or their siddur and touch it to the Torah and bring it to their heart. Remind us that these holy words of kindness should be brought inside of us and to us. Tata will play the Sefer Torah.
The
doors closed, you may be seated. And so we invite Todd to come up here and teach us some of what it means to be a bat mitzvah, and to share her beautiful insight into this morning's Torah reading.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you all for being here today. It means so much to me to see so many people who I love. If you don't know me already, my name is Katya Lisbay, and my Hebrew name is Hanaramit. Before I start, there are a few people who I'd like to thank. My amazing bat mitzvah tutor, Betty Zone Shine. I couldn't have gotten close to where I am without you. Thank you for helping me even when I was having trouble. Thank you, Rabbi Avra, for teaching me and helping me understand that I don't need to know who or what God is to do it. To my religious school teachers in class for helping me learn and grow as a Jew. A big thanks to my extended family and friends, many of which came from out of town just to be here for me. My grandparents who listened to me talk and brainstorm about my bat mitzvah and drove me to Hebrew school for so many years. My amazing friends who listened to me talk and rant about everything from studying to planning to writing this speech and still didn't hang up on me or get mad. Last but most important, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my parents and sister for helping me every step of the way and never letting me lose hope or give up. I wouldn't have gotten close to here without you. This morning's Torah portion teaches about the meaning of Israel, which translates to wrestling with God. The story is about two brothers named Jacob and Esau. Jacob was smart and tricky, but he tried to run away or get out of doing anything too challenging that he didn't want to do, while Esau was a strong warrior, but pretty gullible. These two brothers broke apart and went on their separate journeys. This part of the story started 20 years after they went their separate ways. Jacob learned that Esau was coming to meet him with 400 men. Jacob had stolen from his brother and tricked him out of many things, and he was afraid that Esau was coming to kill him. The night before they would meet, a mysterious person came and wrestled with Jacob. While they were fighting, the wrestler wrenched Jacob's hip out of his socket. Even then, Jacob wouldn't let the person go without getting a blessing from him, or her, we don't know. This person refused to bless Jacob. Instead, he or she changed Jacob's name to Israel. Then came the morning. Jacob couldn't run away due to his injured hip, so he met with Esau. Instead of attacking Jacob or Israel at that point, Esau wept with joy, and the two brothers embraced. No one knows who fought Jacob, but what if the reason that his hip was injured was that Esau couldn't run away from his brother, so he would go and confront Esau? Every child of Jacob must learn the same lesson, the power of courage, strength, and bravery. These are just some of the qualities of Israel. When we stop running away from our problems and face up to them, we grow from being like Jacob, who runs away from anything that challenges him, to Israel, who has the bravery to fight, no matter how difficult it is. It's never easy. Escape is usually the easiest path, and I'm not saying that we go looking for a fight at every chance we get, but there will be times when we know that we need to have a confrontation or to stand up for ourselves. We know that deep down, if we don't deal with the problem, it will just follow us throughout the rest of our lives. The Torah never said who won the fight, but in truth, it doesn't matter. The journey isn't who wins in the end, it's the struggle, the challenge, and what we learn along the way. We may never know who, what, or where God truly is, but as we struggle with the idea, we are Jews. We are Israel. You may have noticed the flowers on Bima. Those represent my bat mitzvah project. As many of you know, there is a community garden behind the temple. It used to grow food for the Westminster Clinic across the street. But during the quarantine, it was left unattended and became overgrown and dead. My bat mitzvah project is to clean up the garden to become better than it was before, to grow food for those in need, and to be a place for people to come and hang out or just sit and listen to music. Originally, I was going to raise donations for a different special cause as my bat mitzvah project, but then I changed my mind. My dad and I used to go down to the garden on Sundays after religious school. Every time I got out of Sunday school, the first thing I would do was run up to him and ask if we could go down to the garden. During the summer, I wanted to go down and put a tire swing up for when village school got back in person. When my dad and I got there, we saw that the garden was completely overgrown and putting up a swing wasn't even possible. So we decided to try and fix stuff. It wasn't easy. We had to take saws and axes and remove fallen trees just to get the pathway back to go down to the garden. On the hill, some of the weeds reached up all the way to my hip. At this point, we started trying to find volunteers. For the first month or two, the only other volunteers were my close friend Gabby and her dad, who came every single Sunday, and they still are. Then we started getting more and more people coming out, and they've helped so much. We had to remove invasive, overgrown weeds to take off oils that give us hives, but finally, with the temple's help, we got the electricity and water turned on, and we've started planting. We had a great event in October with Jewish World Watch's Seeds for Survival program, and we've done so much more. We've even gotten a lot of food for the Westminster Clinic. Believe me when I tell you, it was not easy. I was not happy dragging myself out of bed on the 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, then getting sweaty and sore in the garden. We got bug bites, scratches, and splinters, but that wasn't what we were focused on. We knew that we had the power to turn the dead plants, the fallen trees and weeds into a beautiful, green, living garden. Planting the first seed, I was really proud. I knew that I had just taken the next step to making the garden better. As it started sprouting, I was so excited. After all that we'd worked for, all the time and effort we put in, the garden was coming together. We've gotten more and more volunteers, we've raised donations, we've put in the work, and it has really paid off. Just like Israel with his injured hip, I couldn't turn away from that challenge. And just like the rest of the match, there's no chosen winner. The struggle didn't end with the rest of the match, and the garden can't survive without people tending to it. We have to keep at it and try to improve, because if we stop, it won't keep growing, and neither will we. We have to push ourselves and strive to improve. We have to remember the lessons of Israel, maybe not for a garden, but with school, family, work, and any challenge that might come our way. We can't run and back out, and hopefully, if you're like me and have a family and friends at your side, things might just be a little easier. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. How did you know the word chutzpah? There's this word chutzpah that's been wrongly defined in English. Chutzpah has this negative connotation, right? To say that somebody has chutzpah is somebody who wasn't invited to the party and goes up to the host to complain that there's no food they like. That there's this idea of chutzpah that's just negative and bickering, and how dare you say something like that? That's chutzpah. But the real idea of chutzpah, this real notion, is having strength in the face of adversity. Is getting rid of all the stumbling blocks between you and what you want to do. When you were 11 years old, I don't know how many 11-year-olds FaceTime the rabbi and say, can we talk about theology? I have questions about God. That's chutzpah. That's beautiful. It got you to grow, to think in a different way. How many 11-year-olds saw a project they wanted to do for their bat mitzvah that was really, really difficult? And had the chutzpah to make a PowerPoint presentation to convince us this was a good idea. It's chutzpah, and I wish there were more 11 and 12-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 70-year-olds with that kind of chutzpah who could stand up for what's right and argue their way to do what's most important for the world, what we need in this world. I think about Jacob, and more chutzpah, by the way, is to give a better Torah than the rabbi can give. That is real chutzpah, and we'll have to talk about that later. And tell the kids if you have about, I'm not going to count words, but they always ask how long should their Dvar Torah, should their speech be? I always say somewhere around 450 words. That seems like enough to cover the subject. And so, and I've got a lot of people in my office during this meeting go, oh my gosh, I can't even, 400, that's so long. What chutzpah to turn in your first draft at 1,300 words. And I read it and I go, all right, this is long, let me see what I can cut. And I can't, because it's just every word in there is good and is needed and is really beautiful. It takes great chutzpah. Jacob in our story fights. He fights for what he believes is right. Sometimes we agree with him 3,000-4,000 years later, and sometimes we don't, but he fights for what's right. And I wish for you to have this holy chutzpah that Jacob and Israel had along the path. Make sure you stand up for what is right. If you keep finding the holiness in the world, that community, to make this world a better place. And Aleinu is the first time we come across this phrase, letaken olam, tikkun olam, which is translated as repairing the world. But really what you're doing is you're mending the earth. You're making it better. The word olam not only means the world, but it also means eternity. It means forever. And you are always fixing. May you spend your life finding ways to always make things better, to always make things holier, to always make things a little bit more constant as you see the world through eyes that I wish that we all had. We have gifts for you. On behalf of the synagogue, all of the arms of the synagogue, a certificate of bar mitzvah presented to Hana Ranit, Bat Hanan Lendo, the Surah Pesha, Katla Nisabeh, who's called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah temple Chaim on November 20th, 2021, the 16th of Kislev, 5782. And it's signed by our leadership. In addition, we have a gift bag with her name on it. I hope that everything in here gets used for good, and that it brings holiness and kindness into the world, and into your family, and your home, and wherever life takes you, that some of these gifts, and like your tummies, go with you on that journey. We'll we have these gifts for you, but in addition, I will give you a blessing. I'll ask our Baal Tefillah, Benny Summerfeld, to help me with this blessing. Stand in the middle of the the blessing we've given to our sons and our daughters, our family for somewhere around 3,000 years. So may God continue to bless you and protect you. Thank you, our son. May God's light shine on you and be gracious to you.
Yes,
So may God's face be turned towards you and show you a lifetime of peace. Is that we all say amen?
Amen.
I invite Michael and Jennifer to stand up where you are, Sophia to stand up where you are. How lucky you are to have people who push you, who have taught you chutzpah, who have taught you to be the best version of yourself, and encourage you, and hopefully inspire you, and teach you how to push a little bit. We're lucky to have your family as part of our community. I'm lucky to have your sister as one of my students, and they're lucky to have you as part of their family. How about your grandparents? You've got several grandparents here. How about your grandparents of any sort to stand up right where you are? More blessings coming from all over the world. Your grandparents, how wonderful that you have them in your life. You get to still learn from them as they are part of our community. You get to grow with them and be inspired by them. I hope that you too inspire them. That you teach them things. Sometimes we think we can't teach people who are older than us anything, and here's people who are 2 generations above you. And to think of all that you can continue to teach them, they can continue to grow as well. I invite your cousins and your aunts and your uncles, however you define yourself. It's a little amorphous sometimes. And then there's families that go in all different directions. May you continue to have celebrations with them, find beautiful moments with them, push them into the best versions that they can be. If you're friends of any sort with Katya or the Lisabeth family from school and the Hebrew school and the world, the garden, if you've worked with her in the garden, if you to stand up, friends, parents, and parents, friends, to know that life's journey is difficult, but these are people who every day are there for you. If they're here for you today, even if you forget their name, because it's your friend's grandmother's neighbor, but she came, she knows you. How beautiful they're here for you every day. They're here to teach you and to learn with you, grow with you. God willing, some of them, hopefully for a lifetime. Hopefully some of these people will be in your life forever. And how lucky they are, how lucky you are. And if you're just part of the community, if you're here for Shabbos because this is where you come for Shabbos, if you're here because you're part of Temple's time to stand up, and to know that you're part of the community. For a few weeks now, you've been helping to lead our community. I hope you continue to lead our community into the future. We sometimes look at people who are under the age of, 30 and say, these are the leaders of tomorrow. But it's nice to look at you, that you're a leader of today. That at any age, no matter what you do, and hopefully your friends hear this too, whatever age you are, you can be a leader of today. I'd like to invite actually your immediate family to come up here and be going to stand with you. We're going to say a prayer of thanksgiving, of gratitude that we have to reach this holy moment, that we have to be here in this beautiful moment. So we'll say the words of Shehecheyanu. And after we say Shehecheyanu, if you have a little bit of sweetness with you, a little bit of extra sweetness that you have not yet consumed, please shower this young woman with sweetness. If you are sitting beyond, I say this every week, nobody listens. So I'm going to try it again in English. Next week I'll try to Aramaic, but it'll work. If you're sitting beyond like the 5th or 6th row, there's a good chance that unless you're Jock Peterson, you cannot make it all the way up here with a piece of candy. Some of you think you can give it a try, but there's a good chance you're going to hit Mark on the back of the head, and then he's in the middle. So you're welcome to come here when we get there to shower us with sweetness, and to then know that afterwards you can come pick up the candies, you got a little bite to eat before we conclude the service. So let's say the words together of Shehecheyanu. Service in our CDOR on page 354, online we're on page 184, but here 354 in our blue CDOR. We'll the Chatzikadosh going into the Musaf Hamidah, and we'll finish with the personal prayers after we begin together. You know, you see it, and if at some point you want to pick up a piece of candy, otherwise, I have to work.
Aye,
finish with your personal prayer today and then we see it. You're still davening, take your time, page 398, or online, page 203, is Kaddish Shalom. Page 400 or online 204 is Ain Telegram. We invite Max and Zachary Gallo up here on Greenwood to open the ark for us, and also feel us away to join them. Those who are able, please rise as the ark is open. We're on page 402 or online page 205.
Tu v'tortecha, Adonai yimach le'olam ba'ed, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, v'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shema,
You may be seated. This week, we sadly note the passing in our community of Sydney Adler and Billy Agronoff. And the members being beautiful ones to those who knew them and loved them and learned with them and grew with them over time. In addition, our community notes the yard sites and the anniversaries of the passings of Rose Haskell, 7K, Doris Levine, Becky Katz, Julia Redholz, Norman, Jerome Schnorr, Leo Silver, Sylvia Yale, Stephen Bass, Betty Becker, Samuel Grogan, Blanche Levy, Cyril Mahler, Francine Rayleigh, Nathan Tatelman, Gordon Winter, David Albert, Ruth Beaudry, Susan Benjamin, Seal Lazarus, Ruth Levin, Dr. Rabbi David Lieber, Paul Moss, Harold David Pashkowitz, Rhoda Simowitz, Herman High Tanchain, Rose Cohen, Ted Einstein, Morris Grossman, Harold Kagan, Max Leitner, Gertrude Mezzi, Eva Pivnik, Ruben Dugatkin, Harry Katz, Alexander Mayer, Lisa O'Brien, Marshall Pollock, Robert Salome Schreiber, Ron Engler, Samuel Honigman, Joseph Lerner, Dorothy Bauman Shepherd, Herman Sturman, Leela Yakovic, Erwin Stackel, and Paul Moore. And the memories have all been beautiful to their family and friends. Any other names to add to our list, or anybody who wanted to share a memory this morning? We'll have a chance during the week as well. But all memories have been beautiful ones. If you're in a period of mourning or you're observing the yard site, you're welcome to rise and join us for the words of the mourner's Kaddish on page 410 or online on page 207. Yitkadav, Yitkadash, Shnei Rabba, Be'alma, Yivra, Kurute, Be'amlit, Malkute, Be'hayechom, Yomechom, Be'chaye, Yechol, Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, U'mizman, Karim, Be'imru, Amen. Yehei, Shmei, Rabba, Be'orach, Be'olam, L'nei, Olaya, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitba'ar, Yitramam, Yitnaseh, Bit Hadar, Bit Ale, Bit Halal, Shemei, Kudusha, Riku, Leila, Min Kol, Berchata, Shirata, Tushkachata, Venechamata, Ta'amiran, Be'alma, Be'imru, Amen, Yehei, Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya, Be'chaim, Aleinu, Be'achol Yisrael, Be'imru, Amen, Osei Shalom, Minamav, Hu, Ya'asei Shalom, Aleinu, Be'achol Yisrael, Be'imru, Amen. One who brings peace to heaven, brings peace to all of us here on earth. Is that we say Amen? You may be seated. If you got one of these handouts on the way, you see some of the things we have coming up. Some are for people in our community, some is for anybody who's got a Hanukkah party. And on Wednesday night coming up this week, we have a Thanksgiving service at the church. We trade off locations each year. This year will be at the church. It's been nice for the last 60 years. So if you can join us for that, it'll be lovely. We'll be paying attention to capacity and to masks and all of that. In addition, there's the toy drive on the back. If you have unused toys you want to drop off, if you want to just go make a run to a store and drop them off in the next 3 weeks, so that people in our community who don't have, get something special this holiday season, that's great, or gift cards you buy through us as script or just at the grocery store, however else we get cards. We have adult education picking up in the next couple of weeks with a class on Israel culture, a class on Hebrew for all levels, classes with me and some outside speakers as well. So if you're interested in hearing more, let us know. If you have any questions about today or any other time, you can ask me, you can ask Benny. If there's anybody else with a gold name tag, you can ask them. We're going to conclude our service here in just a moment and go into Spiegel Hall. In Spiegel Hall, there's a beautiful spread of food. You can pick up a plate, then take it outside under the tent. It should be lovely weather at this point, so you can go out and eat under the tent outside. You can follow everybody else and see where they're going, so you're not getting lost. Katya, happy birthday. What a great way to celebrate your birthday. So celebrate your birthday with me, Benny, and Benny. Like, what a beautiful way to celebrate anybody's birthday. We'll have a lot. So if you're in our CDR, page 412, online page 211, words that we've been saying before we leave synagogue for somewhere around 1,500 years we've been saying these words. If you're able, please rise for the last time as we join together in Kiddush and Motzei. Shavu b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, dorotam merit olam, beini u'ben b'nei Yisrael, o ki le'olam, sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz, u'bayom ha'shvi'i, Shabbat vayinachash. Ken berach Adonai v'matvat yikachehu sabri. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Shabbat Shalom.